time it is. Marvin Devine, Hoover, Axel, and you know how we do. Yeah, I got the juice. Big game cool, make them look like cool. Always play it cool, that's the biggest rule. Forget what they doing, keep on doing. I've been making loot since like 22. Ask me how I made it right here in the booth. I'm always pursued cause of what I pursue. That's greatness, yeah, I gotta make it, I got things to lose. Boy, wanna get in my crew, but you can't get in my crew. Me, Axel, and Hoover, way too fireable. When this joint drop, better call the troops. And when you hear the drop, better raise the roof. Better raise the roof. You already know what happens when we link up. Let's go. Yeah, I got.
Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to another edition of Kidney Hub East Africa. I am half your host, Steve, the Kidney Nurse. Thanks for joining. And I also want to thank my loyal followers on TikTok for watching. Definitely appreciate it. Today, we have an awesome show. I believe all our shows are awesome, but there's nowhere else you're going to find a broadcast or a show that talks about the intricacies that take place in kidney dialysis. You're not. And today is no different. Today, we are going to put a spotlight on kidney patients' code of conduct, patients' rights and responsibilities at outpatient hemodialysis clinic. Also today, we'll explore the vital aspects of patient care, empowerment, and advocacy in the dialysis setting. And today, to help me talk about this, is my brother that comes on here every Sunday faithfully, even though he has dialysis the day before and he's tired, he still finds a way to come on and co-host the show. So let us give our brother the VIP intro, none other than Brother Moses Kennedy, also known as the Kidney Ambassador. Brother Moses.
Yes, Brother
Good
Steve.
evening. How are you doing today?
Good evening too. I'm good.
Wh-
I'm glad it's another another Sunday.
So what's going on with you? How was your week?
Uh, Definitely, I want to say it's good and it has ups and downs, but we are just in there. We are hanging there, brother Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Positively.
Awesome. How's your access working? Your new graph that you got
Oh
put
yeah,
in.
unfortunate. I'm not using it at the moment because it is still swollen and maybe the nurses are not in a hurry to use it because it is not so much clear, though it's buzzing, but then the nurses are reluctant to use it, so I still have my catheter in that I'm using, but then I need to use this. It's been a challenge getting I'm in remote part. It is not in the city. I'm in Kisumu. So maybe I would say nurses are not comfortable to try it out. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that
So
is the
when will
challenge.
they be? When will they be comfortable?
Sorry.
I say, when will they be comfortable?
That is what bothers me at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that is what bothers me at the moment because I need to do away with the catheter that I'm using.
Yeah. If I
Yeah.
was there, I would definitely try it. If the surgeon did they give the okay to use it?
Sorry.
I say, did they give the okay to use it?
Oh yes, the surgeon gave an okay to use it, but I reported back to him that I called him the other day, and he told me that uh, we shall see what we shall do. So it is just a moment of wait and see,
Mm-hmm.
because the graft itself cannot be seen on the skin, but then you can feel it, but it is not clear because uh, it is supposed to be clear, to be seen where it is clearly with ease, but then you can't see it. I don't know whether it is deep inside the skin so much, uh, but by feeling, you can feel it. I can
Okay.
feel it from this point all the way to this point. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a challenge.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So brother Moses, as I was asking you before the show about patients' rights and responsibility, and that's the topic today. Here in the United States, when one is admitted to dialysis, they are given paperwork, and included in this paperwork are information pertaining to code of conduct, patients' rights and responsibility, and the grievance process. And so today we're going to try to cover as much as we can within this hour pertaining to code of conduct, patients' rights and responsibilities, and possibly grievance, but we'll see. Now, Brother Moses, uh, as I mentioned, when one starts outpatient dialysis here, they are given a packet, and in that packet is a consent form and other information pertaining to assignment of benefits, which who's going to pay for the lab and stuff like that. HIPAA form, uh, um, uh, lost my train of thought. In other forms, like one for hepatitis B vaccination, one for pneumonia, one for the flu, consent forms. That's what I want to say for different vaccinations. And then, as I mentioned, you had a code of conduct, patient's right and responsibility. Now, in Kenya, do they have such a thing where they talk about code of conduct? Like whoever.
Yes. Code of conduct definitely it does exist because it it is part of the few requirements that the ministry in conjunction with the Kenya Renal Association have come up with a code of conduct. So that one being part of it, it is there even if it is not talked about loudly, but then it is there. However, when you walk to most dialysis unit, they don't have the time over that. Though it does exist in guiding the practices, but then it is the patient are still left ignorant without knowing it. Yes.
Mm.
So patient education towards that is still low, very low, Brother Steve. And this is why I always believe that Kidney Hub East Africa answers so many queries on dialysis issues.
Hey, Brother Moses, tilt your camera down because it's cutting off your head. Okay, there you go.
Okay.
So, but yeah, because what we talk about here, even though it's in the United States, dialysis is pretty much dialysis across the board in different countries. And this should be able to apply to your situation as well. And so, Brother Moses, every person here in the United States, every person who enters dialysis facilities pretty much need to follow the facility code of conduct rules. And each company has to have that. They have to have that. And so I want to go over let me see, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 15 code of conduct that many patients probably don't even know or never heard about. And one, physical violence or threat of violence toward persons or property will not be tolerated. And you see how times are getting now. People get mad at each other. In fact, I showed a video one time from a news site on TikTok of a gentleman that was over in I can't think of the name of the Albania, and he was on dialysis. They had CCTV footage. Showed the gentleman getting off the out of the chair, kind of like what you have, Moses, almost like the contemporary ergonomic type chairs where they sit high and they kind of lean back and they slim. He had got off the machine, went in his bag, and stuff, and he finished his treatment, and he grabbed this flammable liquid out of his bag and walked over to another patient's machine. The patient was laying down, getting his treatment, and there was a patient next to him. So show me, he walks over, and the guy sees him coming and gets off the chair, steps down and stands up and the guy get ready to throw some fluid on him, and he threw it, the liquid, on the gentleman. Then he slips and falls down and reaches his pocket to try to get the lighter out. And he did that, and he did it, and the whole place went up in flames. And you see this from CCTV footage. And you see the nurse, he runs out the facility, and they say 2 people, maybe 3 people were alive as a result of that. The whole ward went up in flames. And so this is why things like this, like the code of conduct, is put in place. I had a co-worker that told me he was at a dialysis unit working, and 2 patients didn't like each other, and it got to the point where one guy just snatched his needles out and got up and walked over to the other guy, and they started fighting in the middle of the dialysis unit. 2 patients, they were on dialysis, got off. Man, they said it was mayhem in there. And they end up, he's trying to break it up, blood flying all over the place. And they end up calling the police. Police get there. They end up tasing the co-worker. They tased him instead of the people that needed to be tased. So this is why code of conduct is put in place. Again, physical violence or threat or violence toward persons or property will not be tolerated. In most places that happens, you're out the door. They can immediately discharge you. And what happens if you get immediately discharged and try to find another unit? They want to know what happened. Why you looking? They got to get your records. And once they find out you got some violent behavior, they don't have to accept you. A dialysis clinic doesn't have to accept anyone. And so what ends up happening, if a person get put out of the unit, here in the United States, roughly 1,000 patients are involuntary discharged from the dialysis unit. They put out, and now they got to go somewhere else or to the hospital. And you can't go get treatment at the hospital like you would your dialysis treatment. Your numbers got to be critical. So the second one, code of conduct, patients and employees will not endanger others by their actions. Another one, offensive language or gestures, even in reference to oneself, will not be tolerated. You got patients at the clinic cussing and using foul language, even staff. No individual will come to the facility intoxicated or under the influence of illegal substances or alcohol, which are not permitted in or around the facility. I hear patients telling me, they may have had some gummy bears or whatever the case. But this is set in place. We just reporting it. All individuals in the facility will wear appropriate attire and footwear. Theft will not be tolerated. Harassment will not be tolerated. No weapons of any kind are allowed in the facility. All individuals will treat others with respect. Patients will keep appointments at the facility. Visitors will not be allowed in the patient care area unless approved by the charge nurse. And this is a big one that you see that really not enforced. Photography or any form of video or audio recording in the patient treatment area is prohibited. Children under the age of 15 years old will not enter the treatment area or be left unattended in the patient lobby. And then the dialysis facility is a tobacco-free environment. Brother Moses, does any of that sound familiar in Kenya where you do dialysis?
Oh yes, code of conduct applies to almost all dialysis in Kenya, and then the patient, most patient have not heard about it, and most of our units here do not have emphasis on education. So yes, it is there. I guess when there is a problem is when it will be revoked to tell you, oh man, you have done this, you have done that. But most patients are unaware of existence of that code of conduct, which is very important to both the patient and the healthcare team, Brother Steve.
I agree with you. Now, we're going to get into the meat and gravy of the show, which is patients' rights and responsibilities, because many patients don't know that they have certain rights, Brother Moses, when it comes
Absolutely.
to their dialysis treatment.
Absolutely.
And, you know, over in East Africa, I don't know if these same rights apply to you guys as well, or even if you if you even heard of them. Now, on this particular sheet, there's 31 rights, and that's a lot. That's a lot, 31. And we're going to see how many we can get through. But most importantly, the main one is you have a right to be fully informed of your rights, including privacy rights, responsibilities, and all rules governing conduct related to patient care, services, and financial policy and responsibilities. Also, patients have a right to be accepted for admission without regard to national origin or sponsor, race, age, sex, religion, disability, payer, sexual orientation, marital status, or other factors unrelated to the provision of appropriate medical care. 3, which is important, patients have the right to be treated with 1, respect, dignity, and recognition of your individuality, right? Choices, strengths, abilities, cultural values, religious beliefs, and personal needs to the extent possible during treatment. And 2, sensitivity to your psychological needs and ability to cope with end-stage renal disease. And see, this is important because, Brother Moses, here in the United States, there's a big shortage of staff. And now they're hiring pretty much any and everybody. And some people that they hire, they just there for the money, Brother Moses.
Very true.
You know, they don't have no empathy. no compassion, no communication skills. And they're in this environment, and so maybe somebody may come in not feeling their best, and maybe they may say something wrong, and that staff member may not think or take in consideration maybe this person may be going through something, because if that's not their normal behavior, and so the next thing you know, they could get into some type of verbal confrontation. Have you ever seen this happen in your clinic, Brother Moses, or any dialysis clinic you attended, where the staff has disrespected the
Very true,
patient?
Brother Steve. Very true. I've experienced this in most dialysis I've been. They're just there for money. And if it is not for money, then they are there to just, uh, 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 put you on a dialysis machine, just like a ritual. A ritual, you do something without a purpose. And now they ask you, how many hours? 4 hours. Okay, 4 hours. Then you are left over there. Then even the units are not calibrated depending on your needs. And then after 4 hours, you are removed. No compassion, no nothing, no education, no time for that. I agree with you, Steve. This is what really bothers me. I've been thinking of doing something about it here in Kenya. It really bothers me, and I know that one represents a larger number of patients. Mm-hmm. They just want to hurry to put the next one, so that they go home. They go home early. It's
Yeah, it's
disturbing.
the same thing here. Same
It
thing
is
here.
really disturbing. Yeah.
Let's move on to the next rights. The right to privacy and confidentiality in all aspects of treatment. The dialysis facility should make accommodations to provide patients privacy when patients are examined or body exposure is required. For example, privacy screens or curtains. Number 5, patients had a right to be free from abuse, neglect, exploitation, coercion, manipulation, sexual abuse, sexual assault, seclusion, or restraint, if not necessary to prevent harm to oneself or others, or misappropriation of your personal property by the facility staff. Also, patients had a right to receive adequate, safe, sanitary, and efficient dialysis treatment and respectful care by competent personnel in a comfortable environment. A lot of times you don't get that. Also, patients had a right to receive all information in a way that they can understand it. Brother Moses, have you heard of anybody, any warriors over there, maybe come to you, or even yourself when you first started dialysis, when they started to explain everything? Did they explain that information in a way that you completely understood it?
So that is basically what is lacking over here. they explain it very shallowly because there is no time for that. For examples, Brother Steve, you'll be told you are beginning your dialysis treatment, and this is what you will be coming twice a week, and then don't let water get into your catheter, and that is the end of it. So you come, you begin treatment, and then you have several myths and misconception about treatment and even diet. So you just hang in there. It is by God's grace. You just hang in there as treatment go by, as time goes by. So yes, there is really a great shortage on knowledge regarding this, and I think even patients themselves do not want to be proactive, take that proactive to be proactive uh, uh, on their treatment. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Also, patients had a right to receive assistance from a family member, representative, or other individual in understanding, protecting, and or existing your rights. Also, patients had a right to be fully informed of all services available in the dialysis facility and charges not covered under Medicare or other health insurance as applicable. Okay. Also, patients upon request had a right to receive any information which the facility has available relative to financial assistance and free health care. Now, with some of these, it's going to apply only here in the United States, and some could be interchangeable with our brothers and sisters in Kenya or any parts of East Africa. Also, patients had a right to be fully informed of their right to execute an advance directive and the company policy that properly executed the document advance directives will be honored and carried out in those facilities. Now, Brother Moses, we talked about that when we talked about the planning last week, and I asked you about advanced directives in Kenya, and you said that they try to keep you alive as best as possible. This is what we're talking about with advanced directives. If someone was to like pass out on the machine, would want somebody to do CPR or not do CPR. We talked about the other week advanced planning, advanced care planning. So also here in the United States, one has the right to choose and to change doctors and or treatment facilities, provided that a new doctor and or facility can reasonably accommodate you. Now, you are advised to confirm that with the facility under consideration has been certified by Medicare. Because some of these units out here in the United States aren't Medicare certified, but majority of them are. because majority of patients here in the United States receive Medicare. Also, patients had a right to know who their primary physician is and to participate with your primary physician in planning your care. Brother Moses, do brothers and sisters over there get an opportunity to participate in their care? Like when they talk to the doctor, like say they think they should run a certain amount of hours or have it say so in their treatment plan?
Oh yes, there are some units that they try their best, and patients are included. But just like I've said earlier, it is not really emphasized on, and that is what is lacking. However, it does exist, but then no emphasis is really made. The main business is to you having dialysis, and then other things. If you want, you can book appointment, possibly pay a consultation fee and ask so many things. Or if not, if one warrior has some communication skills, then he or she can ask his nephrologist regarding any subject that he want to know.
Also, patients had a right to be, and this is an important one, to be fully informed about all treatment modalities, including but not limited to transplantation, home dialysis, whether it's home hemo, intermittent peritoneal dialysis, CAPD, continuous ambulatory peritoneal dialysis, continuous cycling peritoneal dialysis or ECPD, in-center hemodialysis, in-center nocturnal hemodialysis, hospice, and the option of no treatment. See, a lot of patients, they don't know, not that I'm encouraging this, but a lot of people don't know here in the United States that no dialysis is a treatment option. The option not to undergo dialysis. Yes, you had that right. Because some people may have multiple ailments going on. They may come down to the end of the road of their life and feel like they've done all they can. And now they have to start dialysis and may not have a good prognosis. There's all sorts of reasons. But when many people go to outpatient hemodialysis here, Brother Moses, many are not told about the transplant option.
Sorry.
I can't tell you how many facilities that I work at, and only made out of a census of maybe 75, 90 patients, maybe 2 may be on the transplant list. Two or 3 people. And so I've worked at many clinics, and when you go in, you come in through the front door and they got patient lobby, And, you know, some places have information up about how to watch your phosphorus and how to raise your protein and how to reduce your fluid intake. But you don't see nothing on transplant. Nothing at all. No billboard, poster board, no literature, no nothing. And people be like, I wonder why. In the United States, the business of dialysis is booming. And if you take away one person out of that chair, that facility is losing revenue. That's why when somebody in most of these clinics, somebody don't like something that's going on or some foolishness in the clinic, always short staffing or whatever the case, the person say, I'm transferring, I'm going to another unit. And they rightfully can do that. It's so many units up here, you could pick your choice. And now the manager hears that, the administrator, and they try to do everything under the sun to appease or accommodate that person so they won't leave. Let's take your money away. But you don't hear about transplanting the units. And here on this on the patient's rights and responsibility, it clearly states that you have a right to be fully informed about all treatment modalities, including but not limited to transplantation, home dialysis, in-center dialysis, nocturnal, during that night, hemodialysis in the clinic, hospice, and the option of no treatment. And you have some places, persons say, I don't think I want to do it. And that's on you, and they try to talk you out of it. And you come to dialysis and they billing you. Brother Moses, anything you like to add to what I just said? Or
absolutely, your words really capture the true picture that happens in most dialysis over here, because you raise your voice, they want to bully you in a manner that will confront with the policy. And then, it is very silent, and sometimes they say, we want to see who is who, especially when you raise your voice. Very true, Brother Steve. They will bully you. They will.
Wow. So, yeah. So also, one has the right to receive resource information for dialysis modalities not offered by the facility, including information about alternative scheduling options for working patients. Brother Moses, do they have that there for working patients, alternative scheduling?
Yes, dialysis in the city of Nairobi, majority of them are organized in terms of accommodating a patient schedule. For example, those who go to work can opt for nocturnal in-center hemodialysis, and those who do not work, like myself, can be scheduled on maybe different days that perhaps suits the number of days that you want. So yes, they do that.
Okay.
But other than away from Nairobi, most centers are unable to do that because they are really mad with a lot of challenges of shortage of staff, maybe few patients to to sustain the unit, and such like problems, procurement, supply the region. So that one also makes it not easy for dialysis units, maybe away from Nairobi, to have those provision like nocturnal in-center hemodialysis.
Also, this is one that many patients are not aware of until it may happen to them. And this one is, patients have the right to be transferred or discharged only for medical reasons, for their own welfare, or that of other patients, or for non-payment of fees. If I am discharged for these reasons, I would be given advance written notice of 30 days unless the reason involves issues of immediate safety to other patients or staff. These actions may result in an immediate discharge. And see, this is the thing a lot of patients don't know here in the United States. Like, say if something happened to them or they feel they've been wrong and maybe they retaliate or cuss someone out or maybe give a light threat or something, clinics here can immediately discharge a kidney patient from the facility. And if that happens, that's almost, I ain't gonna say murder, but there's patients that I've known that got discharged, immediately discharged for, it's crazy because they spoke up and advocated for themselves and ended up having to go to the emergency room to get their treatment now. They're not able to get a consistent treatment like the 3 days a week, patients are dialyzed here in the United States. It's when your potassium level gets to a critical level is when they will dialyze you. So if you have a lot of fluid on, regardless if you're short of breath and have a lot of fluid, more than likely they may not dialyze you. And this is from someone I had on my show who went through this. They got a court court ordered treatment and to go get it at the hospital, so they can't refuse the three times a week. Now, how is that? Now, and also it talks about person, if a person is discharged for these reasons, they will be given advance 30 days unless the reason involves issues of immediate safety to other patients or staff. These actions may result in an immediate discharge Reasons for involuntary discharge may include failure to comply with items in the patient's standard of conduct, responsibilities, and facility rules, which are provided in the patient registration packet. Brother Moses, have you known anyone in Kenya to be immediately discharged from dialysis for reasons?
Well, I do not know any case. Personally, I've not heard of any case in Kenya, and I think it is something that can happen. It is something that can happen because human nature is just to not sometimes to abide by the rule of the house. So personally, I haven't had such case, but I can find out. Yes, before I give the correct information about it.
Right. The next one, I definitely recommend if you're watching this and you're on dialysis or you got a loved one on dialysis, and this is, you have a right to review your medical record with supervision by the facility administrator or designee at a time mutually agreed upon by you and the facility administrator or designee in advance. Also, one has the right to receive a copy of their medical records. All requests for medical records will be put in writing. Based on medical records, all record requests will be completed within 3 days of the request. Now, this is important because we don't often hear patients say, hey, I want to look at my medical records just to see what document during your treatment and see what's happening, what's your blood pressure been running. But again, many people are not concerned with that. They're not. And if something happened, you don't know if they wrote the exact notes or whatever the case. Just like you have people who are on the transplant list, they look at your dialysis records. And so if you missed treatments or got off, but you had reasons and it's not documented, or you're not signing the AMA, or you signing the AMA and you putting something smart on there, people at the transplant, they see that. But you do have a right to inspect your medical records to see what's in there, what they've been writing during your treatment. Is that the case in Kenya, Brother Moses? Do they give you guys the right to inspect your medical records?
I think most rights are violated in a way because when it comes to a copy of record from your file, sometimes it becomes tricky. They say, Brother Steve, what happens again? Those nurses that are not exposed to that level of maybe knowing a patient right. So sometimes they may be bullying you or infringing your rights ignorantly because they know that the file belongs to the facility. Because, sometimes the nurses that are trained in job. So many things they don't acquire. leave alone for those who only read beyond passing exam, Brother Steve. So yes, it can be a challenge.
Got you. Also, many patients don't know that they have a right to freely, and this is important, especially here, and even in East Africa. Now, I don't know if there'll be any repercussions, because Brother Moses says there's some bullying, but patients have the right to freely express comments, complaints, or grievances verbally or in writing, personally, anonymously, or through a representative of your choosing. Your comments, complaints, and grievances may be expressed to staff, administration, or the corporate company compliance department, whatever company you go to, the ESRD network organization, and appropriate regulatory agencies without fear or reprisal or denial of service, discrimination, or retaliation. All comments, complaints, and grievances will be resolved in a timely manner in accordance with the facility's grievance process. And then it goes on to say, information regarding the grievance process will be provided to you, and the facility social worker will assist you if needed. Now, a lot of times in the United States, you go in the patient lobby, and up on the wall, they had the patient's rights and responsibilities, where they're supposed to, and the grievance process. Brother Moses, is there such a grievance process in Kenya?
No. Brother Steve, what happens? The grievances could be verbally over to the administration, but sometimes, if the grievance really is touching the administration or touching one of the co-worker, then there is this one want to protect colleague. So maybe a doctor comes and want to inquire what the problem is, then maybe they are assuming that the patient does not know anything regarding dialysis. So they give really a wrong reply to whoever is concerned. So in the name of protecting colleague, Brother Steve, I don't know whether this happens in the United States. Now, the process, it is not clearly, because sometimes you complain and it is buried that way. Unless you persist, that is when a problem could be had. But then these minor issues, when you just complain and leave it to that point, then it is just watered and buried that way.
Okay. Wow. Now, we're pretty much at the end of the show. I mean, this is a lot of information. And unfortunately, we're not able to cover everything in this one show, because we haven't even talked about patient standard of conduct and responsibilities. And so we're going to continue this show next week with the patient's responsibilities, because it's many. And one important one is patients are responsible for their own transportation to get to dialysis. And that's a big one for many people trying to get treatment. Brother Moses, let's touch on that right quick before we
Really, Brother
ready to
Steve,
close
that
the
is the
show.
most challenging part of it here in Kenya. The cost of transportation makes even treatment at there is not easy, because you lack transport to go to and fro to your center. What do? You will sit back, because sometimes you can't just have it. It is something that is there like twice a week. Resources sometimes gets exhausted, and you are just left, Brother Steve. I want to say you are left for the dead, because if you have no transport for dialysis, this is crucial. This is medical emergency to have treatment, and here is a case you don't have the transport to go. Nobody cares. It is none of their business at the unit, Brother Steve. I think this is the most crucial part of it here in Kenya.
Now, is there? I'm sure there's public transportation, but is there any services that they offer patients to help them get the treatment or reduce costs to get on
No
public
such arrangement.
transportation?
No such arrangement does exist. No such arrangement. And Brother Steve, the public transport system we have here in Kenya is really a unique one. It is, unless you are healthy and fit, that is when it really serves you well. Because getting in public transport bus, the bus come, it is in a hurry, because the bus wants to pick another person before another bus comes. So they are always in a hurry. They make you in a hurry to board and even to alight. So yes, sometimes when you are out of treatment, it could be really traumatizing to a patient, even if when you have the money. But then the bottom line is people really lack transport to and fro to hospital. And others have devised a method. My case, where I come from the village, uh, I had to, I had relocated to the village. I want to give you an example, but then I have to come to Kisumu, because Kisumu now reduces the cost by me staying in Kisumu. So you devise ways of surviving closer to the facility. So yes, that is how it works.
We had a question from PT that says, if one expresses a complaint grievance, can the clinic have someone discharged? And I've seen this. It wouldn't happen right away, but depending on what the complaint or grievance and how far the person takes it, and some people may start aggravating this person on purpose. It's a lot, and it's deep too. But every year, 1,000 people here in the United States are involuntarily discharged from their dialysis center, and that's too many people. Brother Moses, before we close the show, well, let me say this. So going over these patients' rights and responsibility and code of conduct, this gives warriors an opportunity, if they don't already know, to see the the rules that are set in place that one may not know about, and they may unwillingly or unknowingly not know that maybe a certain right that they're entitled to is not being fulfilled or may not be carried out as a result of lack of knowledge or information. And so if you go to any clinic here in the United States and you got a mission packet, they should have give you a copy of patients' rights and responsibilities. Or if you don't have them, you can ask the unit for a copy of it. Brother Moses, any last words you want to say before we end the
Yes,
broadcast?
definitely. I want to encourage every warrior to try and request for a copy of patient's right. And these are one of the most documents, uh, uh, legal documents that you need to know. And even I want to encourage other facilities to, have talking walls so that these things are pinned on the wall, on the notice board, and patients are able to access Brother Steve. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Brother Moses. So next week, same time, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, USA, and 8 o'clock East African Time, come back and we're going to finish the conversation and talk about patients' rights and responsibilities as we talk about the responsibilities that they expect from patients when they come to outpatient hemodialysis clinic. So, Brother Moses, again, it's been a great show. I know sometimes it's hard for you to come on because you had treatment the prior day, but just know that it's definitely appreciated.
Thank you so much.
So until that time, guys, we want to thank you for joining Kidney Hub East Africa, and tune in next week as we continue our conversation on patients' rights and responsibilities. Until then, have a great week. Brother Moses, have a great treatment coming up Tuesday, along with everyone else. If you go to dialysis, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day, or have a great night. Take care,
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank
All
you
right,
so
brother.
much.
Thank you as well.
God bless you and have a wonderful day.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.